We're not Disney adults. We're just adults that like Disney.
We're not haters. We just have opinions.
We're not cat ladies, but we are childless. We're two entertainment creatives exploring culture at the intersection of fandom and our professional careers.
I'm Kaylin.
I'm Jacob.
And this is the Childless Millennials.
All right, we're rolling.
We're rolling on the river.
The Childless Millennials, episode 3. As I dropped it.
Hello.
Welcome everyone to the Childless Millennials pod.
It's us. We're back. I do want to start by saying thank you so much to everybody who tuned in, watched, listened to the first 2 episodes. I'm so excited. Thank you all so much for your feedback and your support, and we hope that you keep listening.
Well, let's be clear. The only negative feedback we got was that I was too damn loud. I had so many friends that were like,
I didn't say that.
Oh, well, I
Somebody
had friends
did.
like they were like yelling at me in the car when I would laugh. They'd
Stop.
be like, Jacob, because I was like breaking their ears.
Oopsie.
So we're working on some mic technique.
Yeah, we're gonna really lock in the mic technique.
It's just on Broadway. Our mic was here, so
You are a projector. You're a theater person. You know how to project. You are always speaking and singing and laughing to the back row.
It's dynamics.
It's dynamics. Honestly, you're such a dynamic person, Jacob. Is that what the D in your name stands for?
That is. That's the Jacob Dynamic Heron.
That's you.
Anyway, how have you been doing? Since we last saw each other? How you been doing?
I've been good. It was a good week.
Good.
Lot of fun stuff. A lot of creative brain things happened this week, which was really fun.
Yeah, and most importantly, it's after Labor Day, which means spooky season
It's
is
Halloween.
upon us.
It's Halloween officially. I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. For me, Halloween starts July 5th.
That's too much.
I don't put decorations up or anything, but in my heart, once 4th of July is over, the next holiday is Halloween.
Wow.
So I'm already getting ready for it.
But when's your birthday?
October 9th.
So isn't the first holiday your birthday?
Well, I mean, that's a holiday
It's
for
the
me.
same- Okay.
It's a holiday for me personally.
Sure.
But, I celebrate that with a smaller group of people than the collective that celebrates Halloween.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Also, I have a question. Is spoopy still a thing?
I think that is violently millennial.
Okay.
Which is a teaser for a segment that we might do later.
I remember when spoopy was a thing,
Mhm.
but I've continued to use it and it doesn't really exist.
Mhm.
So I think I need to stop.
Yeah.
I'm spoopy.
You can say that, Jacob, if you want.
Okay, we'll put a pin in that for our. We're gonna, but this episode we're gonna give you a little more structure.
Yes.
A little more segmented.
Just because of the time period in which we started recording, the first 2 episodes leaned a little heavier into Disney and what was going on with Disney, because obviously
Yes.
we love Disney and,
Yes.
in all different ways. But that's not all our show is going to be. So this is going to be a taste of more than just Disney.
Yeah. But speaking of Disney,
Yeah.
I had my Club 33 overnight.
Yes.
So we were in the club and we got to go in the lounge,
Mhm.
which is did you know it's a $100,000 buy-in? I didn't know that the lounge is only there are tiers to Club 33.
I did know that.
So it is only top tier members that can access the lounge, and it is a
Okay.
$100,000 buy-in. And we were I was sleeping on the couches in there during at 3 a.m.
I did not that completely changes my perspective now on the people I know that have lounge access.
Oh yeah, it's
y'all can
money.
invite me and y'all can pay for my drinks. That's all I gotta say.
The money.
Because y'all have the money.
And did you hear about the couple that was suing for their Club 33? They had it removed and they were suing Disney to get it back, and Disney said no, and they're appealing it.
No, what?
Okay, long story short, it's not important, but basically this couple got the guy got wasted, and I guess there are rules about not getting incredibly intoxicated at
As
Club
there should be.
33, and security got involved. They kicked him out. They revoked his membership, and they sued. Disney won, and they have to pay Disney's lawyers, but they're appealing it because they said they will fight to the death for their Club 33.
And that's on Disney adults.
Yeah.
Couldn't be me.
Yeah, wild.
Wow.
But
I mean, but that's like your fault. You got wasted in like
Yeah.
a luxury club that is owned by one of the largest conglomerates in the world. Like, what did you think was going to happen?
Also, it's giving trash. How do you have that much money in your trash? That's
honestly,
trash
like
behavior.
something that my family used to, I mean, again, I'm from the South. Something my family used to always say is like, white trash doesn't have like you can have money and be white trash.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, like the status of like finance doesn't like somehow exclude you from being white trash.
100%. 100%. Do we want to go on to our first segment?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it's time for our news briefing.
Yes, it is.
So I love to check in on we love to keep tabs on childless millennials
In the news.
And you know who, our fave, JD Vance.
Is he our fave or are we his fave? Because he's constantly talking about us.
Okay. So we might be his fave. I have to be honest with you though. I've decided that I'm a JD Vance super fan.
Stop.
I love him because he is defecating the bed so badly. And it is exhilarating for me.
It's like watching an episode of The Real Housewives is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, but it's like helping us. I mean, because there's a lot of critical analysis that Sarah Palin lost John McCain the presidency. And I feel I really want to start a conspiracy theory that when Trump loses, we should all blame JD Vance and just end his career.
Okay.
And just use him as the scapegoat because Trump will need a scapegoat.
Yeah.
And the like election stolen is like a little tired. So I think we need to like.
I don't think he can use that again.
No. And we need to blame JD Vance. So
can I interject here something that Connor told me earlier, which is that he has started saying WWJD Vance.
Which I don't even know what it means.
Like WWJD, what would Jesus?
I know.
Okay, but like I was like, wait, what would Jesus do?
I had a WWJD bracelet. Did you?
Of course.
Yeah.
In like multiple colors.
Oh, multiple. Navy
my
blue,
favorite was
green,
my
red.
navy one with the white
Loved the navy
WWJD
blue.
because it matched my Christian school uniform.
I actually love the concept of WWJD, but I think that it's been so held hostage by the crazies.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. So this is not really about this is actually about people with children, which is why I loved this quote so much. So let me
Not this photo of him with a child.
Obviously a working family, and it's very hard for working families to get by. How will we lower the cost of daycare?
It's such an important question, Charlie. And I think one of the things that we can do is make it easier for family models to choose, or for families to choose whatever model they want, right? So one of the ways that you might be able to relieve a little bit of pressure on people who are paying so much for daycare is make it so that maybe like grandma or grandpa wants to help out a little bit more. Or maybe there's an aunt or uncle that wants to help out a little bit more. If that happens, you relieve some of the pressure on all the resources that we're spending in daycare. Now, you talk about
it's giving I'm applying to replace Steve Jobs and the press has asked me how do I fix my computer and you say maybe you should turn it off and turn it back on.
But also
that's your solution?
How is volunteering someone else's family members to watch their children for free a policy change?
Yeah, no.
Right? Like if he's pro-family and is like running on this idea of like changing policy to make the family model more affordable for people and incentivize them to have kids, how is volunteering people you don't know to work for free a policy change? That
the question was not what do you say to families that can't afford childcare?
Yeah.
It's how do you lower the cost of childcare? That is still not lowering the cost of childcare.
No, that's asking people to do free labor.
Yeah, but I love him because there's so many options for a terrible answer, and he somehow manages to give the worst bad answer
Every time.
And I told Connor, I was like, what I love about JD Vance is that there's no difference between his unearthed audio, you know, when it's like, oh, we found this from a podcast 10 years ago, and current, because they're all just, and they're so dumb.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, you know, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Lauren Boebert, like, we hate these people and like they're so vile, but like it's not fun.
Yeah.
But I actually think JD Vance is really fun because he's so
You put
dumb.
such a positive spin on this.
Yeah.
I also think it's funny because not only does he consistently pick like a really bad answer choice, but he's also really terrible at asking questions. Like you've seen the video of him going into the donut shop, right?
Oh,
it's
iconic.
Yeah. So my favorite thing was somebody put a juxtaposition of that video of him going into the donut shop and then Tim Walz going into the Runza in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. Did you see Kamala in the Penzies Spice Shop?
No.
That just happened yesterday?
No.
It's so good.
So somebody does a side by side of JD Vance and Tim Walz and like how completely different these interactions were. Yeah. And like top comment, like my favorite comment on this clip was somebody needs to teach JD Vance the art of an open-ended question.
Yeah.
And I think that's so true because the line of question, like the questions were so awkward, but also in that specific case, I'm looking at his team and I'm like, it's giving the Four Seasons because how did you not vet this establishment that you were sending him to? Nobody had worked there for more than 6 months. This wasn't some like staple of the community. The donut shop had only been open for 4 years. Meanwhile, like when you juxtapose it with the Tim Walz clip, like Runza is part of the culture in Nebraska. Like It's a big deal. Like my husband's from Nebraska and like I learned how to make Runzas from scratch. Because like so we could like have them at home. It's like a dough with like meat and like filling in it, but it's so Nebraskan, and so it made sense that he went there and like participated in this cultural thing, right? Whereas like the JD Vance one, like not only was he not asking any sort of like driving or open-ended questions, but it's like who on your team thought that this was the establishment you needed to visit?
It's literally an episode. It's literally the second episode of Veep when she's going to the frozen yogurt shop and they have like a whole entire analysis on like which flavor of frozen yogurt she's gonna buy, like the Jamaican rum or the like or the swirl,
like how it's
Unity.
so orchestrated.
Yes.
Yeah,
and like there was a whole Twitter thread. It was like JD Vance like blink twice, like if you need help because like your team hates you.
It
to do this
like
to
that.
you, that they would set this up and orchestrate this and not set you up for success. And also who released this clip?
Yeah. The whole thing just made me think of like the Four Seasons landscaping situation.
Which is just so
like that's how it felt to me, which is like
iconic.
somebody just didn't do the research that they needed to do. And not that like I feel bad for him necessarily in that way, but like somebody on that team didn't do the research.
JD Vance is the reason we need to bring back bullying. Because when I see JD Vance, I think maybe you should be pushed into a locker.
Oh my God.
Maybe
we don't condone violence.
We don't.
No.
No. Gently shoved into a padded, lavender-scented locker.
No, but like, nope. I don't think did anybody in school ever look at you and say, you're dumb? Like I don't think, like, where was the accountability? Where was the, I don't say bring back bullying.
No, I know, I know what you mean though. It's like what happens when, it's like what happens when somebody's ego goes unchecked. And it's like, nobody has ever paused him to say like, hey, maybe not this way, or maybe that's not our strength, you know? And yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Social correction. Not bullying.
Well, no, because like, I mean, I'm making a joke, but what happens with bullying is that you have people like JD Vance that then they make talented, smart, incredible people feel like shit because they're bullying them. And I'm just like, why are we not actually
Why
just
are we correcting the
because
problem?
I've been trained that to be honest in some situations is rude. But
Yeah.
to say to him, that's not funny. That's actually not bullying. That's just the truth.
A social correction.
Yes. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Love you, JD. Biggest fan.
Jacob. You're going to keep saying that and people are going to like believe it in the wrong way.
No, because Trump is losing. I'm very optimistic. I think that Trump is losing. I think Kamala is winning. I am pulling a Nancy Pelosi because Nancy Pelosi said you make a decision to win and then you make every decision to support that choice that you're winning. And that is how I feel about Kamala. I have decided that she is winning.
Yeah.
And every choice I make is as if she is winning in November.
That's great. The collective power. I mean, that's really what it is though, is like, that's why we have to vote.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a pivot really quick for our second news topic that we're going to talk about. We're bringing it back to Disney, but maybe not in a positive way.
Oh, yeah.
We are going to chat about the apparently legally binding arbitration clause in the Disney
crazy.
Plus terms and conditions that prevents you from taking Disney to court for pretty much any reason.
Did you do your research on this?
I did.
Okay, good. I was
yes.
I was counting on you doing the
I'm not a
research.
lawyer. Let me give that disclaimer. I'm not a lawyer. I have never studied law. I've read many a contract in my life, but you know.
I know you have read a contract.
Yes, you know I have and do.
Per our last email, the contract states.
The contract states. Highlighted here in section A, subsection 3. So essentially what happened to bring this all to light is that a woman with severe allergies was dining at a restaurant in Disney Springs in Orlando. It's a restaurant called Raglan Road, and had expressed her allergies to the staff and was assured by the establishment that her, allergies would be accommodated. I believe she was allergic to like nuts and dairy, I think is what her allergies are.
Okay.
And
so nothing super like odd.
No, like very common allergies. But she is severely allergic and like carries an EpiPen and everything, and was served her food, went into anaphylaxis and died because her food had been contaminated with the allergens that she, had.
Right.
So her husband wants to sue Disney for wrongful death, and Disney's lawyers come back and say, well, actually, you can't, because 3 years ago, you signed up for Disney Plus on your PlayStation to watch The Mandalorian. I'm adding details. It was on a PlayStation. I did read that. I just picked The Mandalorian because it seemed fun. You signed up for Disney Plus on your PlayStation, and when you agreed to those terms and conditions, you agree basically anything that you feel like you can't sue Disney. It has to be settled privately. And in those situations, I think the word is arbitration, if I'm using that correctly.
Yes.
Arbitration always favors the corporation. And so basically they said, not only did you sign these terms and conditions for Disney Plus, but when you purchased your park tickets to go to Epcot on this trip, you agreed to an additional set of terms and conditions. And there's a statement in those terms and conditions that say they are in addition to and not in lieu of any other terms you have agreed to with the Disney company. So they are doubling down on like a 1-2 punch of you cannot sue us for wrongful death. And his response was, how are any of these things related? How is me signing up for Disney Plus in any way related to my wife being served a meal that she was deathly allergic to and died because of?
It's like you downloaded iTunes on Windows 98 and now your phone has exploded and you can't sue
Apple.
Yeah. I will say there is some details of this case that I do find weird. just to get this out of the way. One, it wasn't a Disney like run and owned restaurant. So I was actually sort of confused as to why they were sued. Like, I don't know what the liability is if like there's finger pointing of like, no, it was their fault, or like
that was my initial question as well. And I couldn't really find solid information on that. So to my knowledge, Raglan Road, as are most of the establishments in like a Disney Springs or downtown Disney, are owned and operated by restaurant groups that have space on Disney property. So my first thought when I heard the story before I did the research was like, oh, well, it makes sense that Disney would say you can't sue us because it's not a Disney restaurant. But then for Disney to come back and say that it's because of these terms and conditions you agreed to in Disney Plus just seems yucky. It's
disgusting.
It's just like you had every answer choice available and you chose the worst one.
Say we don't own that restaurant, or like, oh, we don't like make some, like there's a million reasons. It's giving the first episode of Black Mirror of the last season where they're like, you sign your life away to Netflix and then they can make a series like based off of your life. Like that's literally what it is. And it's such a terribly dangerous precedent to set. And I don't know why Disney would even Disney labor relations just really, really I'd like a word because I don't know who at Disney labor relations did not think that this would be a press nightmare.
It's just it's really a press nightmare to give that kind of response when someone died. Like, this woman is gone.
Right. It's not like, oh,
and it was a preventable circumstance. And I have so much empathy for this man who has lost his wife and their families, and like, it's for Disney to come back and for that to be the response, not we regret that this happened at an establishment on our property while we don't, have direct ties to Raglan Road, or XYZ restaurant group.
Yes.
We will do everything we can to support, but like nothing like that. Like, just for a Disney lawyer to come back and say, no, this has to be arbitrated out of court because you agreed to these terms and conditions when you signed up for Disney Plus, to me just feels like the absolute most inhumane way that you could have responded to this.
It's absolutely vile and disgusting.
Yeah.
Truly.
And it's to be this company that purports itself to be, about, families and, like this, like entertainment, and we want to bring joy to people and we want to tell these valuable stories. And, of course it's a corporation. So at the end of the day, they're out to make money. But when that is your public facing persona, and then somebody comes out and says, no, actually you can't sue us for the wrongful death of your wife because you clicked yes on a terms and conditions 3 years ago, is just, it lacks any level of empathy. And it's just, I hate that was their response. I hate it.
It is just so weird.
Yeah.
Like, everything about it is so like odd to me, and like it really did not make any sense. And I just was like, why would we even begin to have a conversation about things like this?
Yeah.
That like we have somehow signed our life away to, because the thing is it's not just Disney.
No, it's
like,
not.
So did we sign our life away to Facebook and Twitter?
I mean,
for forever. Like, and this is kind of the conversation we're having now with AI.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is like, oh, so these companies can just use whatever they want that's available to them and weaponize it for their own like gain.
And then one of
not even gain, but like convenience.
Yeah. One of the articles that I was reading was talking about how basically our Supreme Court has has set this precedent over the past like 4 or 5 years of being pro corporation. And like let me read it so that I'm not misspeaking. In a case in 2019, Justice Brett Kavanaugh wrote for a unanimous court that courts have no power to decide questions of arbitrability. Hate that word. That was really hard to say. That have been designated to an arbitrator, quote, even if the court thinks that the argument that the arbitration agreement applies to a particular dispute is wholly groundless. So he's essentially saying, even if we think that this arbitration is groundless, we're not going to do anything about it. That's how I read that. And so like the Supreme Court, the bias is in favor of corporations in these situations, which is really unfortunate.
It's just so insane because the thing is I, how do I even begin to say this? in defense of corporations, right? Like, I've seen and been a part of situations where I'm like, wow, I wish the company just had the freedom to do blank or to whatever. But it's like the whole reason that we have unions, laws, all of this stuff is because they don't do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
If they did the right thing in the first place, we wouldn't be having half of these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
But they notoriously don't. Big businesses never, ever do the right thing.
Yeah.
When they really need to. Like Walmart paying the fine to the federal government to not give their employees health insurance because it's cheaper than actually providing them health insurance. Like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why? That should be criminal. Where's the multi-billion-dollar lawsuit about that? Like, it's just... It's crazy. But I think that that's what I love about us is like that these conversations are really important because I think that I've had so many revelations and discussions about what true accountability looks like, and accountability comes from the inside, and like as a Disney person, like we need to say like, no, that's
not okay
and disgusting. And
that type of response is the thing that gets sensationalized, right? And in a bad way, because the headline everybody's running with in this circumstance has happened, I think, almost 3 weeks ago. The headline that everybody's running with is you can't sue Disney because you agreed to Disney Plus terms and conditions.
Yeah, and then even though they like rolled it back, like they took back that language and it's like the damage
but you already
is done.
put it out there.
You already put it out there.
That is now the
suggestion.
sensationalized thing.
Yeah.
That is now what everybody focuses on. I mean, we're sitting here talking about it. So obviously that's what we're hyper fixating on out of this whole situation.
Yeah, it's crazy talk.
Yeah. It's really disappointing, unfortunately.
Superfan moment of the week.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, we're going to talk about a super fan moment of the week.
This is my super fan moment of the week. Honestly, of the month, of my year, maybe. So I love Mark Shaman, composer, who wrote Hairspray. But he's also done he's had quite an eclectic career, film composition, of scores for movies. He was actually writing the film score for Emperor's New Groove, and he was fired.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, and it's so funny when he talked about it, he was like, whatever, the movie went in a different direction. Like he was so blasé about it.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. He wrote the music to the musical Catch Me If You Can, which is a show I've done twice that I loved being a part of. When I did Catch Me If You Can, I posted a video of the sits probe of me singing one of the songs, and I tagged him, and he responded, and I feel like he has a reputation of really being just so touched anytime somebody is doing his work or appreciates his work, and so he's just very open and loving. So I tagged him, he responded, it was a cool moment. Anyway, he followed me back on Instagram. This was a few years ago, and I was
bestie.
Yeah. Well, then Connor and I are at this SCL event. This is the Society of Composers and Lyricists, and it was honoring the music department nominees for Emmys.
Okay.
And so he was there because he like wrote a song for Only Murders in the Building. Yeah.
Ooh,
Did you say
fun.
How to Get Away with
I was going to say
Yeah.
How to Get Away with the Only Murders in the Building.
Yeah, which also Selena Gomez, now a billionaire. Why is she living in a building with so many murders? We gotta get her.
Why? Girly.
So he was there and literally sees me and goes, and walks over to me and gives
Stop
me
it.
a hug. And I was like, because I was like Connor and I were like doing the like, you know, hawk thing where you're like circling and you're like, am I going to say hi? Am I going to say hi? Am I going to introduce myself? Like, what are we going to do? Like, play it cool. And he walked over to me, gave me a hug and was like, how are you? As if we like were friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, Mr. Shaman, like, it's so nice to finally meet you in person. And he just like jumped straight into a conversation. And he goes, are you nominated? And I was like,
the fact
I
that
think you were there.
you were there. I mean, but
I
honestly, like the fact that he thinks of
Oh,
you
yeah.
to that level of like logically you would be is very cool.
oh yeah, I know. And so then like, and we just were like chatting. We asked him how his concert at the Rady Shell, or as Mariah Carey says, the Ratty Shell. And we were just like talking and like he gave me like a hug goodbye. It was just like so sweet.
That's so cute.
I know. And I just was like, the amount of times where I've like been so depressed and have like blasted the Hairspray soundtrack to like, because it is just like the music of joy to me.
It's such a good soundtrack.
It was so sweet. And to be recognized.
I love that he recognized you too.
I know.
That's
Well,
really fun.
It was cool to be in that environment because like it's a gala and obviously the point of these things are to network. Like everybody is there to like hobnob. So it is different meeting him at a show or like you bump into him at the grocery store or whatever. Like, so to be like in a room, you know, and to have him like treat me like an equal and be like, oh, you're nominated. And I was like, no, but not this year.
Yeah, not this year. Period.
So that was
Nominate
really
Childless
cool.
Millennials for an Emmy.
Oh,
thank you.
Period.
Streamies were coming.
Streamies.
Did you have any fun little fan moments?
Nothing to that extent. That's really cool. No, I think my super fan moment of the week is, it's not really like an interaction. It's just, you know, I'm a big Halloween girly, big Halloween girly, and Halloween Horror Nights opened this week. So I went to the opening night of Halloween Horror Nights on Thursday, and you know, it's media night, of course. So like they do a red carpet and everything. So there were like cool people there.
That's fun.
So like we walked in and like at the red carpet is at City Walk and they project it on the screen. So we were like sitting there eating and like just watching it, you know, from like above and then also looking at it on the screen. And like right when we walked in, like Seth Green and his wife were on the screen, which is really cool.
That's cool.
I love Seth Green. He's amazing. I've actually seen him at Horror Nights before.
Oh, really?
Like he loves it, which is really cool. And then one of my favorite actors who like I love his shows, Guillermo Diaz was there. Have you watched Scandal?
No.
Okay, so he was on Scandal. He was on Weeds.
Okay.
And he just seems like such a cool person, and like I love his shows. And he was there, and I saw him on the red carpet. I was like, oh my god, that's Guillermo Diaz. That's awesome. And then like later on in the night, we were at like the Weekend bar where they like play all the weekend music and like all the lights or whatever. Just like having a drink and chatting, and he was like at the table beside me, and I was like,
oh my gosh.
I didn't say anything. He was like with his friends and like with a tour guide. So I didn't want to like interrupt or whatever. But that was really cool just to like, I love Halloween. I love Halloween Horror Nights. I've been going since literally I was 10 years old.
I love
and
that.
so, and now I get to go on this coast, which is really fun because I've been going in Orlando since I was 10. And so like coming here is really cool. And then seeing, you know, actors that I love that also love Halloween was really, really cool. So it wasn't like an interaction. It was just like, you're Halloween nerds just like me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was kind of tied because like my Club 33 thing was also like
I
such a
feel like
super
you
fan.
had too.
I did.
You had a really good week.
I did. It was when I walked in, the staff was still like closing up for the day. And of course I walked up to them. I was like, can you give me a tour?
Yeah.
And she was like, oh yeah. And then the director walked by and he was like, Jacob, are you getting a tour right now?
You said yes. Yes, I am.
We had one of our actors came late because she was actually performing at Horror Nights in the stunt show.
Cool.
Yeah. And
wait, who?
Rachel.
Do you know what role she is in the show?
I don't.
Okay.
Actually,
I want to
haven't
know.
seen it.
Oh,
Yeah.
She's she wears a dress.
Is she Beth?
Maybe I don't know the name of the character.
She's really pretty, like
Pretty
kind of wavy
girl.
brown hair.
Yeah, she's probably Beth.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know way too much about
Yeah,
this
no,
show.
I
I
love it.
love this show.
I can't
It's
wait to
so
see it.
good.
Yeah, we need to find out when we're going.
Yes, we have to set a
Says she
date.
Wears a dress as if that was like
No,
the
but
most
no,
helpful
no, but it is. No, it is though, because there's only one female character in the show that wears a dress.
Oh,
So
Oh.
it's her.
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
it's Beth.
So she came late, and so then I gave
Was
her
this
the
Thursday night?
Yes.
Oh, that's insane.
I know.
I saw her last show. We watched the
Oh my
last
gosh.
Purge
Oh,
show
no,
of the
sorry.
night.
This was Tuesday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It
So
was
for the team member preview, I guess.
Yeah. But she came late to rehearsal in her like horror makeup.
Yeah.
And then I was giving her the tour of Club 33. And
You're
then,
such a pro.
Yeah. And then David walked by. He was like, "Are you now giving her a tour?" And so like every time he sees me with a worker, he's like, "Jacob's always getting a tour."
I love that about you though. Like you are never afraid to ask for something like
Oh,
that.
never.
Like you sometimes like I always want to know I always want to know the hot goss. I always want to tour. I always want to know like the ins and outs of everything, but I am a lot more like trepidatious about asking.
Yeah.
And that's also why I love hanging out with you, because then I get to do the cool shit that you asked to do. If we're with Jacob, we're gonna do something cool like that.
Well, I just like I think, you know, like that's part of their job is they like to know. They know so much about it.
And
so I'm just
asking
like
a professional,
I'm
an
like-
expert.
And I'm like, tell me where the fabric of this curtain came from.
Yeah.
Like I want to know. Did it come
Why
from
is
Turkey?
this designed this way?
Yes.
Oh, because Walt's favorite sweater had this pattern.
Yes.
Like I love knowing that kind of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So and then I took a nap in the lounge.
Of course you did. You know what? If you slept there, I wonder if you have squatters' rights at Club 33.
Oh my God.
Finally, millennial.
So this is a new segment.
This is the Kaylin specialty.
Yes. So I'll explain how we got here.
Okay.
And then we can do the segment.
Okay.
So
I don't know how we got here.
Oh, you were there. So that's funny. It was at game night
Oh, okay.
a few weeks ago. And I think it was when we were talking about the legacy, the Legends ceremony
Okay.
at D23. And somebody in the room said something. And I said, "That's violently millennial."
Oh.
And Connor was sitting next to me. And it was like Connor and Lyndon, and they were like, "That's actually really funny. Like, that should be a thing on the podcast." And so the concept of like violently millennial is things that we have either self-assigned as millennials or other people have assigned to us as being like millennial core. Like this is just something that is like
Okay.
foundationally and fundamentally millennial.
Okay. So for violently millennial, I
Yes.
guess I already brought it up at the beginning of the show. So spoopy.
Spoopy is violently
But
millennial.
I feel like I learned the word spoopy from a Gen Z person.
No.
I don't think so. I mean, tap in if you know.
I don't. But like years ago, so like I think that is like, did like Gen Z try spoopy and then they didn't like, because you know how like
Yeah.
no cap like came and went in the night.
Yes. Well, and it, like came and went, but like Gen Alpha is still using no cap.
Oh really?
Yes.
Which no cap is like no lies.
Yes. Cap is a lie. So like that's cap. You're lying.
Like, oh, I've never heard that's cap.
Yeah, that's cap. You're lying.
You know that we worked with somebody that would say no cap and gown.
That is violently millennial.
Oh, that's violently
Taking
millennial.
other generations' slang and adding to it or turning it into a dad joke is
Yes.
violently millennial.
WWJD Vance.
WWJD Vance. So I guess this week's violently millennial is the Millennial Dictionary. The way millennials take words and change them into other things or
Yes.
create new words.
Yeah.
One that Gen Z absolutely hates is the word adulting.
Oh, I've actually killed adulting. I
Yeah,
don't.
I don't use
adulting.
it anymore.
I don't. It's dead.
I don't either.
Yeah,
Um,
but it did just send a shiver up my spine. Adulting.
like a visceral reaction to it.
Yeah.
The word adulting is violently millennial. Another one is, which I have stopped using because it gives me the biggest ick, is I did a thing.
That, I don't even consider that violently. That's just violence. That's just pure
heinous.
violence. I feel like the musical theater version of that is this show, this cast, run, don't walk. We've got to stop.
Oh.
Musical theater people, I'm speaking to you. I'm speaking to you now. We've got to stop. We've got to stop with this show, this cast, run, don't walk. It's in the ground. It's dead. Thank you so much, Marie Kondo. Thank you for your time. You served us well. And it is time to say goodbye.
So long and good night.
So long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, adieu.
Tudoshe.
Oh, that's boomer. Tudoshe is boomer.
Tudoshe is theater boomer, I think.
Yeah, I've always hated Tudoshe. I have a really like out of left field question.
Okay.
Violently millennial.
Yeah.
The Pizookie Pass at BJ's. Is this
Gen X.
Is this violently millennial?
I think that's
because I love me a Pizookie Pass.
I
Lyndon and I, in fact,
your eyes.
Oh yeah. Lyndon and I both have a Pizookie Pass,
Aroused for the Pizookie.
and I use it, baby. I
Do
use that
you
Pizookie
really?
Pass. Oh yes, I love a Pizookie.
I feel like I agree with Connor. Like I think I would associate a Pizookie Pass with like elder millennial Gen X.
They're not using the BJ's app.
Old people are the ones that do
That
those
have a
deals.
pass. That have the deals.
No, because you know what else is violently millennial? And this has actually been talked about on TikTok.
What?
Is saving gift bags for birthdays
I do that.
and tissue paper.
I don't save the tissue paper.
Oh, tissue paper is saved with the matching bag in that drawer right over there. I have some Mickey tissue paper that has probably seen about 9 gifts over the years.
So I know what I'm getting my birthday gift in this year. It will be
Look at this.
Mickey tissue. Mickey tissue paper.
Look at this Mickey tissue paper. I don't even know what I got with this tissue paper. But it is going strong, Mama.
I'm paying attention to you, but I'm also filming Oreo because she's running in her sleep.
Oh, and to the balls right there.
And she's running for the ball in her sleep.
Oh my gosh.
I love her. That's incredible.
Yeah,
yes, I do save gift bags. I have even been known to save a gift box.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
like if it's got like the ripped, like if the cardboard is ripped because of tape, then I just put wrapping paper over it the next time I use it.
Yep.
And that's violently millennial.
Yeah.
Is that like, I feel like that's something I picked up from my grandma though. So I feel like that like hopped a generation.
But I think that is kind of like what happens, right? Like
Yeah.
I had this realization very recently that like our parents telling us to turn the lights off before we leave a room
Mhm.
is like because their parents did that because
Mhm.
their parents were around when electricity was invented.
Yeah.
And so they're like, this is so expensive. But they actually say that is like, that makes no difference in your bill.
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
it
especially
actually might
now with
not-
like the light bulbs that we have that are like
Yes.
so energy efficient.
Yes.
You could leave them running 24/7 and
Yeah,
it's like
it's-
pennies on your bill.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And it does not waste the energy
Yeah.
that you think it does.
Or my sister and I were talking about yesterday. Like I was saying, I have zero desire to be a morning person. And for a long time, I felt like very guilty about that because there's
Oh,
this like
yeah.
moral assignment that society has decided that you're better if you're a morning person. And I came to terms with the fact that like I love staying up late and sleeping until 11 a.m. And so we were talking about the phrase like burning daylight and how like my dad used to say that to us, like, come on, get up, we're burning daylight. and like my grandpa would say that.
Oh,
And my sister was like, yeah, well, we don't like that notion is nonsense now because we don't have to, get up and we only have a certain number of hours of daylight to work. We have electricity.
period.
Like we don't like that concept is like null and void now because
yeah.
we have lights and I can literally turn on the lights in my house and make it look like 12 o'clock noon at 12 o'clock midnight if I
Right.
wanted to.
Right.
And so that's funny that you say that because those types of things are passed down. And I
Yeah.
think being an early riser is one of those things because it's like, oh, well, we're wasting daylight. And it's like, I don't care. I've got a lamp. Like,
Yeah. Also, like with what we do, our work starts when the sun goes down.
most of the time,
With
yeah.
gigs and performing. And,
Yeah. Okay, well,
hilarious.
that's Violently Millennial. It's just a cute little chat.
Okay, so Not This is a segment about like, well, it's kind of funny coming out of Violently Millennial because I feel like Not This, blah, blah, blah. Like, is that Violently Millennial too?
Probably, but it's fine.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Okay, so Not This is where you would like look at something and be like, not this, whatever. But
Mhm.
it's like something that's come up recently that you just like need to like get off your chest. And so for me, Not This Disneyland Christmas 2024 merch, these spirit jerseys, disgusting.
Oh.
No.
Also, like controversial
Also,
opinion, but I think Walt
basic.
Disney World spirit jerseys are ugly.
They
The
are.
logo on the back, I don't like it.
I can't find the pictures, but like it just I'm so irate because like okay. 2 years ago, I was at Disneyland. They had the cutest Christmas spirit jerseys. They were like sweaters and they were like old Disney vintage cartoon things. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have to get one. I didn't. Come like December, they go, we sold out of those in October. October, mama. They sold out of these
And
Christmas
never
spirit jerseys.
restocked.
I waited a year. For the next line. I was like, these new Christmas spirit jerseys are gonna be so cute. Last year, disgusting. This year, not cute. And I know I brought up Bring Back Bullying earlier in the pod. I have a little Republican energy today, but with Christmas Mama, give me red, green, and gold. I want to see Merry Christmas. I don't want to see winter. I don't want a winter spirit jersey. I want a Christmas spirit jersey. I want tinsel. I want Christmas bulbs. I want baby Jesus in a manger, mama. Pine trees, Douglas firs, Christmas bulbs, ornaments, glitter, gold. Christmas, no winter. Christmas. Winter is January and February. I want Christmas. Give me Christmas or give me death.
It's giving Veruca Salt. I want Christmas and I want it now.
But literally, these spirit jerseys, they're so ugly.
You're talking about like the blue with like snow and like that kind of
Yes,
stuff?
that's not Christmas.
Yeah, that's winter.
Why is Peter Pan on my Christmas spirit jersey?
Oh, there's a Peter Pan one?
Last year, they just put like a random collection of characters. I feel like it was like Alice and Peter and, oh, but the jersey's green, so it's Christmas. No, I want flannel. I want
Yeah.
Christmas plaid.
I remember the red sweater spirit jersey. Is that the one you're talking about?
Oh yeah, I saw there was that. I'll show you the one that I really wanted.
Yeah, I want to see it.
Look at how cute that was.
I remember this one. This is very you.
Very me.
It's very
And
you.
I will say, like, that is winter. That's winter, but that's giving Christmas. Look, there are Christmas trees. There's a snowman. Mickey has a candy cane and a present. He's wearing a Santa hat. It's giving Christmas.
So what we'll do in the show is we will put this photo next to the spirit jersey from this year that you hate, and people can vote on which one they like better.
Meanwhile, the spirit jersey from last year,
Oh, that one was awful.
disgusting.
Awful. I mean, but this is very Christmas, though. If you look at it, it's got the bulbs, like you
I
said.
guess.
There's a tree. They're wearing Mickey and Minnie hats. I mean, they're wearing Santa hats on Mickey and Minnie.
I just need merch for the childless millennials.
You want it to. I think what you want is you want it to be Christmassy, and you want it to be classy. That is chuggy.
Yes.
And the one that, like, the green one is more kitschy.
That's giving Ohio.
Not skibbity.
What is skibbity?
Violently millennial.
What is
No, it's Gen Alpha slang,
Because I'm also saying Ohio like the Gen Z Ohio.
which is Gen Alpha.
Crap.
Yeah. There's too much now, baby.
Apparently Ohio, we need to clarify to our listeners, I feel bad. Apparently Ohio is what? Said by Gen Z, like boring?
Yeah,
Or
it's
like,
boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bland.
Yeah. Which I'm like, I'm so sorry to the state of Ohio. I don't know who gave you that designation.
Well, JD Vance from Ohio. Yeah. That's the thing. It's very meta because violently millennial is just
Not being aware of the slang is.
Yeah.
Oh God, we're gonna be boomers before you know it.
Yeah. Anyway, do you have a not this?
I do. Mine's not as funny as yours, so I'm sorry. Mine's like actually kind of serious.
Oh. You're like, not this terms and conditions.
My not this doesn't make sense grammatically, but my not this is not parasocial relationships with people that we consume media from.
Not this parasocial relationship.
Not this parasocial relationship, not these artists clapping back at people for having parasocial relationships with them. I think it's a huge problem. And I think it is.
What is a parasocial relationship?
A parasocial relationship, in the context that I'm talking about it in, is when you feel an unreasonable kinship to someone that you consume media from, and you therefore feel entitled to not only give your opinion on what they should and shouldn't be doing, but you expect that they will listen to your opinion because you have a perceived relationship with them that actually doesn't exist. It's a one-sided relationship that they are not an active participant in, even though you are. And you have assigned a value and a worth to this person in your life when they reasonably have no clue that you even exist. And it's a problem for a lot of celebrities, especially in the way that we consume media nowadays.
Yeah.
Chapel Roan has been talking about it a lot lately because she perceives herself as Chapel Roan and herself as Kaylee as two completely different people. Chapel Roan is a character that she plays, and people feel
so dumb. Is that not her real name?
No, Chapel Roan is not her name. Like, she describes it as like Chapel Roan is like her drag persona.
Got it, of course.
And when she is Chapel Roan, she is performing, she is on stage, she is embodying that character and that performance art. And when she is not, she doesn't feel like people should have unfettered access to her life. And when she is seen out in public and people want to take pictures with her and she says no and they get upset, she feels that that is unreasonable, and I agree with her. I think that parasocial relationships are a really unfortunate byproduct of the access that we have to media and the access that we have to social media, because social media has given people the idea that they have close personal relationships with artists, when really, when you think about it, the fact that you've bought someone's CD or watched their music video or bought tickets to their show does not entitle you to their time or their privacy in any way, shape, or form. And it happens with really big celebrities. And I've even seen it happen with like friends of mine who are influencers, where somebody will, like, you know, a friend of mine who's like a big Disney influencer, somebody will see them in the park and say, "Hi, I recognize you from Instagram or from TikTok." And then that person feels entitled to their time and entitled to, well, because I recognized you and I said hi and I'm a fan of yours, you owe me a picture and you owe me a conversation. And if you don't take a picture with me and if you don't have a conversation with me, I'm going to go on Reddit and talk shit about you and say that you're fake online and that you're not an actual friendly person. When meanwhile, I actually came up and interrupted you with your family eating dinner and expected that you would pay attention to me and give me, you know, a give of yourself to me just because I recognized you from online. Yeah. So my big thing right now is parasocial relationships, and I hate it.
What is like the difference, do you think, between that and sort of what we talked about last week of like, you see Jodie Benson at Disneyland, you know, and you like want to say hi, like, should you or should you not? You know what I mean? Like, because I think it is all about like, it's all about the context.
Absolutely. It's all about the context. And I don't have a problem with you recognizing someone and saying hi. Never. I think that, you know, read the room, obviously, which some people don't and can't do. But if you're in an appropriate context where you feel like it is okay to say hi to someone, that's normally fine. When you expect that because you have said hi, that person now owes you a photo and a lengthy conversation, that's too much. If I were out in public and I mean, like I was saying, like at horror nights, right? Like I saw Guillermo Diaz. I didn't want to interrupt his conversation. If I had found a moment to say, like, hi, like, Guillermo, I love your shows. I love seeing you on TV. Like, I hope you have a great night. That would have been where I left it. I would not have felt entitled to take a photo with him or for him to engage with me in any sort of conversation. He doesn't know me. And just because he's been in TV shows that I like doesn't mean that he owes me his time.
Right. I think that it's also like to like not correct what you were saying, but it's also not about finding a moment. It's like just waiting for the moment to present itself.
Yeah.
Because like when we were at that event, you know, it was like, oh, should we like go up and like we were kind of like doing that dance.
Yeah.
Like, should I say something to him like that? That is sort of what this event is. We're all networking.
Well, and that's what I was going to say is like,
but I was so glad that I waited for him to come up. Like I didn't know that was going to happen, but that moment ended up being so much more natural and organic. Yeah. And I didn't even ask him for a picture or anything because I was like, this actual moment between two human beings.
This conversation is more important
than like having a like. I guess what you would call a parasocial moment, maybe. Yeah. Like, you know.
I think what my not this is maybe it's not parasocial relationships in and of themselves as much as it is like the entitlement that people feel to others because they consume media from them. I think like we had talked about on the last episode, like D23, right? And like all of the people and like these incredible artists and creatives and like entertainers and celebrities that were at D23, right? In those types of contexts, I would say by and large, those people are working and they are expected to get recognized in that way, right?
Yeah.
Like that's why you're there. It's the gig that you've been hired to do. You're expecting to be recognized as the character you played or the actor who, you know, participated in whatever movie it was. I think it's when you see people in the context of their real everyday life and you feel like they owe you their time because you're a fan or because you bought a ticket to their concert. If you bought a ticket to a meet and greet, absolutely.
Right.
But if you saw a concert last night and then this morning you saw that artist in Trader Joe's, do you think they owe you like a conversation because you bought a ticket to their show last night? Do you know what I'm saying? Like the context is really important. And I think parasocial relationships have really blurred the lines of like what context is and isn't appropriate to demand of people's time and attention.
Yeah.
If they're on a red carpet or they're signing autographs or they're doing a pop walk, like where intentionally they want to be seen and they are performing as their persona in a way, sure. But if you see a YouTuber that you love in the grocery store, expecting more of them beyond just a, hey, I'm a huge fan, I love your content, I think is unreasonable.
I'm so excited to dive into this further on other episodes and stuff because I feel like it's constantly a dance between being a fan, having those fan experiences, wanting to just share your love and appreciation, but also like respecting somebody's like humanity and the moment and like, you know, I think that so many people could benefit from like just learning about how to interact with people a little better. And you know what I mean? Like,
we're all human. And I think that that's at the core of it for me is like, you never know what somebody is going through, like not to be dramatic. It could be super positive. It could be negative. Like you never know what someone is going through. And you also never know what somebody has the capacity for at that time. And you might feel so connected to a character that they played in a show and you're like, oh, well, like this really helped me get through this really hard time in my life. And that person might not be in a space to receive a trauma dump. You know what I mean? Like, like
I think people like Oprah and RuPaul, like they get that a lot.
Yeah.
It's like you know, Oprah used to say like before the person would even start talking, she'd be like, let me guess, you were a latchkey kid. You came home every day. You turned on my show. You watched every episode. Like it's not belittling the story. It's actually connecting it to the greater humanity.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's like, we think our experiences are so special to us. They feel singular, but they're actually collective.
Yeah.
And so we can't be entitled to our single experience when it's actually a collective experience.
Yeah.
You know, but
That's me.
and that's the pod.
And that's the pod.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for listening again and coming with us on this journey. Please, if you're watching on YouTube, please like this video and subscribe to our channel.
Yes,
if you are
please.
listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, please give us a follow so that
Yes, subscribe, and reviews are also very important. Now is like where I want to start, soliciting y'all because I love you so much.
Love the reviews. And I love YouTube comments. In my old YouTube channel, I replied to every comment.
Yes.
So please tell us. Yes.
Yes, share this with people that you think might enjoy the show. Yeah.
And please give us your you're not this, you're violently millennial moments.
Absolutely.
And even if you had a super fan moment of the week, let us know. Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. We do this because we love it and we love having these kind of conversations with each other, but we wouldn't do it if it weren't for y'all like participating in it with us. So
but if we're out at dinner with our family, do not say hello. Kidding. I'm totally kidding.
Please participate in this with us, but don't get crazy.
Just don't interrupt me in the middle of a show.
Correct.
Be mindful, be demure.
Apparently that's gone. Somebody told me yesterday, they were like, yeah, demure's gone. That's out. And I was like, already.
But she got her
she
got her bag.
She got her bag. She was able to make enough money to pay for the things that she most wanted in this life. And I appreciate that for her.
Yeah.
I love that.
So, all right, y'all. We'll see you next time here on the pod. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. Bye. The Childless Millennials is a podcast hosted by Jacob Heron and Kaylin Kelly. The show was produced by Connor Warren Smith with music by Connor Warren Smith.